Hello, how are you doing? Okay, this is about hygiene. Okay, so what it was is I was at this place, right? And I had won, um, like a little prize and stuff. And so we ended up getting all these little goodies. They were trying out some products. So it had like shampoo, it had soap. I mean, it had a lot of stuff. And it was in the basket. And so I was like, okay, well, this is like the special products that we would use. And so I really didn't think anything about it. I was just like, okay, well, what's the issue? Like, I mean, I didn't think that itself that it was an issue or a thought to talk about hygiene or anything like that because we were bathing. We took a bath and everything. We brushed our teeth and everything. So I didn't know why I was hearing the noise about hygiene, right? So I don't know. I mean, let me just kind of go to a little thought that if we got a lot of people who are young and old, so just say people now, and just in general that may have some sexual relationships, right? And they may have had more than one partner. I mean, I met a few people, they only had one partner throughout their whole life, right? Then there's other people who have a lot of sexual partners. We've read some people, man, I mean, we ain't gonna talk about Wilt Chamberlain's claiming that he did 10,000 because you got some people who said they have multiple sex partners, right? But they got money. They're not bothered. I don't know if they caught any venereal diseases, but venereal diseases seem like it was somewhat common. You understand what I'm saying? If you sexually active or you have somebody who's out there having a whole lot of different sex, but I'm like, well, you have medicine that will help you with a whole lot of different stuff, unless you there was a person who caught herpes or because herpes, I, over all of it, if they want to find it, they can find it. You know what I'm saying? Let's put it like that. If I mean, they want to just take the microscope and just look for that. I mean, 9 out of 10, most people ain't doing that. You understand what I'm saying? So, okay, I'm like, okay, well, what's this hygiene, right? We're bathing, we're trying to take care of ourselves, stuff like that. Then I was like, okay, well, hi, we get hi, and then Gene, and I'm like, okay, well, what is this? So anyway, on here on it says conditions or practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing diseases, especially through cleanliness, right? So if we were looking at, okay, we're looking at health or healthy. Now, if we're looking at that, so if we're knowing that we want to try to take care of ourselves, then why would something be wanting you to do something opposite than what you're trying to do for yourself? I mean, I have been places, even if we're looking at mental hygiene, then that means that we don't want to have our minds all caught up with here it is, somebody else's wild thoughts or their foolishness. You understand what I'm saying? So that means that maybe possibly they're not caring about here it is your mental health if they want or your mental hygiene. Okay, so of course you want to have mental hygiene. I mean, no, seriously, you want to have your mind cleared and your thoughts are good and things of that nature, right? So then now I was like, well, maybe we're looking at uh, um, a union of some two people or whatever, and in that union with those two people, there's children, right? Or somebody's talking about your genes, right? Your genes are good, or this, that, and the other. But this is the thing: is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? And the reason I say that, excuse me, the reason I say that is because you can have two bright people, intelligent people, whether we're looking at education or something else, and if they have children, some of them kids they are something opposite than their parents. So I didn't understand, like, well, what is? I mean, you can have you can have your children, and you want to raise your children, all right, and then you want them to do the right thing, then where does this hygiene thing come from? You want them to do the right thing and they do the wrong thing. There's a lot of parents who are rearing their children, right? And then you have a lot of people who want to tell other people what to do. So what's going on with this word hygiene? So I'm like, okay, looking at mental health now and hygiene, mental health and hygiene. Well, there are some people, if we're looking at people who are homeless, some people don't have access to bathrooms. I myself, I'm gonna let you know, I have tried to go to some of the shower trucks, okay? And they're locally, they actually built up a place where you can go and take a shower and you can wash your clothing and they will store some of your things for you, right? And I'm like, okay, well, if they're talking about hygiene and then yet they haven't solved homeless, people who are unhoused and people living on the street, and some of those mobile trucks wasn't really going in some of the more populated places, then we're not just going to be talking about it as if, they mental and they don't want to bathe. But I'm going to let you know right now, some of the people, when they're down and out like that, I want to say it's not the least of their concern, but the thing is to try to approach some things, right? It's like, wow, man. I mean, to get there, to get down the street to go and take a bath is different than you taking a shower at home or a bath at home. You can't tell somebody who's, well, why don't you just go down the street and get it done? I mean, or even, I mean, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go get it done. I'll go find me a job. Some of this stuff is just easier said than done. It's not, the reality of it is just that. Mental health and hygiene. Now, there's some people who stay in their home and they don't bathe. Okay? I don't even know if it has anything to do with any water. I myself personally, when I'm inside my home and I'm not doing anything, I may not want to bathe. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that I should be bothered about if I should bathe or not. There's a lot of people who spend 2, 3 days at home and may not even hit the shower. And I'm gonna be the first one to let you know, me too, right? But I was thinking of some people. Matter of fact, I had a roommate. Well, really wasn't my roommate, but it was just a roommate or a space that, man, this girl, she stunk. But then I didn't really say anything because I'm like, well, her little funky smells just smelled like a woman, right? But when she bathed, I mean, the tub was filthy. So I knew, but hey, it didn't keep her from having no man either. You know what I mean? But the thing is that when you look at some people, to talk about hygiene and me listening to whatever that was, I was just like, well, hold on. Um, are they talking about people who become just like they don't want to do any of that? Then that means that if that's what that noise is talking about, what is trying to work on, then we want to take a bath. You understand what I'm saying? Like you may see some people who are older or, wheelchair bound or homeless or whatever the numerous things may be that they may not bathe. I don't know. I think this is a little different than how these people are trying to explain people going in a recessing or being in a dark place, just going back and forth listening to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, well, if we're looking at hygiene and the anticipated thought, like they want, oh, depression, oh, depression, you should be stressed. I'm like, stressed and depressed about what? There's nothing that I can do if I'm looking for other people to feed me or to employ me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I may go to somebody's place and we like to like the other day. I was really just looking for some Super Bowl food. But if they've been like, and we didn't get no Super Bowl food, and they wanted us to pay out of pocket, and I didn't have no plan to pay out of pocket, then we didn't get no what? Super Bowl food. However, I did get popcorn, right? So that being said, if people are trying to make you upset, you're listening to something and it's trying to make you upset, or it's telling you it wants you to be depressed or to talk about stress, that's not your spirit, baby. And if that right there, if that tone is to be like, oh, well, here it is, associated to hygiene, you do find some people who are in a depressed state where they don't bathe, and it take them a while to bathe. Then you may be in a household with mama or parents. Let me say parents. I want to say mama, parents, or maybe even a roommate. Maybe talking about how much water a person may use or whatever. You go to some people's house and be like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm one of them. Do not throw your tissue here. Don't do it. Put it over there. Okay, it's taking. She's good God, mighty woman. I'm trying to take a shot, but you running that dang on water. You need to go ahead and bathe like you need to bathe, like you trying to get up out of there too. You know, but there may be people who, for whatever reason, right? But I don't know if that hygiene to talk about putting people in, or being in a depressed state. So anyway, what it was is that when we were safe at home, with safe at home, or doing safe at home measures during the epidemic of COVID-19, I mean, it was a big thing about getting hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks and everything like that. The thing was, though, we didn't know if people who were preparing our foods were okay. But then I started to say, well, I thought it was a little unfair, though they wanted to talk about airborne pathogens, right? It was different than to talk about AIDS. So when you look at AIDS, people who had AIDS and it was deadly. But that right there, you needed a blood trans. I mean, I'm not a blood transfusion, but you had to draw blood to identify if somebody had AIDS, if they didn't go, if they didn't go to the hospital or whatever. You understand? And that didn't prevent people from having employment, and nor did they take on, here it is, that thought to talk about, okay, how they wanted to get rid of, to put all these restrictions like how they did COVID. And we probably have more people who die with HIV AIDS, and then people, then the stories that they want to tell us about one thing or the other. HIV AIDS, and like I had mentioned, herpes, those HIV AIDS, I don't even want to look at to see what the comparison is to talk about. Here it is, cleanliness. Okay, because that was sexual, right? This contact to talk about 6 feet apart, and washing your hands, being in the general public and everything like that. I mean, it's like germs. Now we start looking at them germs, right? It's almost like that dang on bandana. I mean, you see germs, and you can, and look at the microscope. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Really, it doesn't. But here nor there, to talk about sexually transmitted diseases, or to talk about the air that we breathe, and then taking on safe measures against here pandemics, epidemics, or even to the a common code is a common code. I mean, it shouldn't even be you know in the same thought of how they were trying to explain COVID. Okay, and again, that became an explanation that in itself, it was like, I don't want to say it was, like we're just trying to build up whatever that is, because there's a lot of people who suffered, and then to look at their families and so on and so forth. I mean, a lot of sad stories during that time where people didn't even, were not able to go visit their families, were in the hospitals or out of state. and some people wasn't even um, didn't even have memorials. You know what I'm saying? But how is that associated? You know, I mean, they say well, hygiene to talk about our health because that's what I think. That's what this word said. I think I had put the dictionary word poor standards of food hygiene. It says art of health, healthy conditions or practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing diseases, especially through cleanliness. Um, you know, a lot of people with clean clothes, washing your hands, um, bathing your body or rinsing your body, brushing your teeth. All of those different things are, I mean, a majority of society do those things. Now, what about here it is, our mental hygiene. So why do you suppose that they're trying to explain and want to explain and you telling them no, no, I don't want to hear that, and then yet they going then to talk about your well-being and mental health and mental hygiene. Not you know you want your mind to be healthy, just like here it is, other people who think they have healthy minds. Not anything that's trying to have you think other than what you want to think about. You see what I'm saying? At that point, them for them to even talk about hygiene in such a way and then want to kind of load up your mind with here it is, gossip and foolishness and things that you don't think there's a benefit to you. Now, if you want to be like, okay, well, here it is, my health here, one the underarm, and health here, and then talk about from here it is, head to toe to the bottom of your feet. Then, that being said, to talk about being healthy, you wouldn't want anybody to do anything wrong to you. Now, going back into that hygiene from our consumptions, whether we're talking about food, we're talking about other consumptions, such as tobacco, marijuana, recreational drugs, alcohol, and all these different things. I'm like, well, hold on. Those people, they getting paid. You know what I mean? Instead of those people talking about how they want to tell, oh, we want you to be healthy. We want you to be the health, but then they want you to be bonkers. Now here it is crazy. Or you, oh, look, we just want to be with you. We're going to sit in the room. And then they want to talk about depressing people. How is that a healthy hygiene, a healthy mental hygiene? It's not. So then they'll talk about cope. So I'm like, okay, well, let's try to figure out what this thing is trying to say because it's a little bit more than what we may have our own misunderstanding of one word. One word. So I'm like, okay, I think I had went to that thought about the well-being of us. But then also to talk about, man, it's so sad, but even to look at money and health. You know, some people who are living on the streets, the reason why they're on the streets is because they have faulted on credit. They couldn't qualify for an apartment, or they didn't have enough money for a down payment or to pay monthly rent. Go to apply for an application and then get you only getting subsidized payments. It ain't gonna pay. Here it is, the amount of money that you can get paid possibly at a job. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much people get, but if we were looking at the general relief or something like that, that in itself to look at hygiene and general relief, they we I mean it's mental, baby. We need more money. Hygiene and food stamps. Some people they need more of that. The gentleman said, "Well, I need some food stamps." I said, "Brother, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. We need some money." That being said, that to look at ourselves and just think that everybody is in the same little boat is false. But if this thing want to be like, "Oh, look, where were you?" It's like, hold on, you with me? Well, honey, I'm trying. There's complaints. I'm trying to understand why you wanted to interfere with my hygiene. Why are you bothering my hygiene? Now, this is the thing. If we were looking at ourselves and having a conversation about whatever that is, I mean, a lot of people pick up a conversation and talk about an array of different things. The thing is, though, is that as we were communicating and the connection, and then how we're going from here and there about relationship. Now, relationship, how the word itself is just presented, there should be healthier relationships with people, right? But on the contrary, if we were in agreement with these people to talk about, here it is, hygiene, then we wouldn't have so many different people who are suffering or going experiencing different various issues going through family court. That thing is not our friend. I'm sorry. It's just not. And so anyway, going back to this word, I may have to give another thought on this. This was just kind of a little random from one link to the other to explain, to have some kind of thought or some deep thought at what that may mean to people who want to be healthy. And if it's something that's on the opposite, if we're talking about cleanliness, like you need to clean your body and stuff like that, I mean, some people don't even wash their hair. I myself personally, I may not wash my hair probably just once a month. I think yeah, just like somebody who may have their hair braided or something. Once a month, because it's covered. I cover it all the time, or the majority of the time it's covered. I may have, my little scarf on or something like that, and I put this on because I don't want any bugs or, there may be a little fly or something. I'm like, no, honey, I don't. So, I mean, nothing where like a little flyer. I mean, okay, stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm gonna come back to this video. If there's any more, not this video, but if there's any more content that will be associated with, here it is, that word, I will address it. But just from me listening to that word, and then going into maybe some other kind of thought that is not talking about people who don't have access to those things, but to talk about a healthy person. I mean, this is possible. I don't know. I mean, to take time to try to figure it out. I'm doing that right now. But if they're looking at someone who is healthy and they trying to depress them into poor hygiene, then that means that in your healthy state, something is trying to make you sick. Now, at that point, there's a problem. That means that that something else is trying to interfere with your good well-being. That's not our spirit world, honey. You know what I mean? That's not our God. And so I was at this place and I was looking at this piece of art, and that snickering, boy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the kidneys like that. Let me pull it up really quick. Let me look at kidneys. With kidneys, um, people do blood transfusions, And it says the kidneys are two reddish brown bean shaped organs found in the vertebrae. They are located on the left and the right in the retroperitoneal space, and in adult humans are about 12 centimeters in length. They receive blood from the paired renal arteries. Blood exits into the paired renal veins. Each kidney is attached to a ureter, a tube that carries excreted urine to the bladder. Baby, I ain't gonna lie to you. Said, I'm gonna tell you, this is sad news, honey. The reason why is because I've been my experience under this heat, and I'm like, honey, we're looking at Revelations if we want to talk about the fire, and I mean, here it is at the vagina, and then oh, here it is your urine, dude, shut up. Let me go back to this. What I wanted to say first. I was at this place, and they had it was a painting, and it was inside of a place of a person that gets blood transfusions. You know, they go in to get their kidneys and everything. Now, the picture, I should have took a picture of it. It was showing something that maybe what I'm about to cry about right now is that was man-made. It wasn't like, okay, it was something natural, a natural experience that somebody was going through, but that maybe man had created that pain. So just reading that, and it's saying to receive blood from the perirenal arteries, and said the blood exits into perirenal veins. I'm not really good with I don't want to say, what is this when you know word pairing and stuff like that, like, anyway, that part. So anyway, um or terminology, let's put it like that. But it says that a tube that carries excreted urine to the bladder. Now, I know that people, I don't know if, you know, the drones or satellites, but I'm like, well, why am I feeling that on my vagina? You understand what I'm saying? I'm feeling this thing on my vagina, and then I'm like, well, this thing, that heat, and to look at your booty, to talk about bed sores. Then it's like, okay, well, look here, you know, oh, in the morning. I mean, I don't know. Hold on. How many people actually get up right away? I mean, unless you just getting up, I gotta go use the bathroom, right? But there's some people who lay in the bed before they actually get up to go to the bathroom. So the concern is to look at, here it is, I'm telling people, feel all around your rib cage, all around, here it is, because I'm feeling something I don't want to feel. And I'm feeling this, here it is on my belly and everything, because I know a kid, the baby, the kid. Lord have mercy. And it said, here it is, pussy on fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, well, honey, oh, here this happy thing. No, the pubic. I'm like, no, honey. So I looked at the vagina. Oh, this right here, the feeling. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that feeling. You heard me? But to look at, here it is, these people may have been interfering with any of my internal organs. I don't like it. Then I mean, it's just coming off with all off the wall type stuff. You go, you do your blood work, yada yada yada. I mean, and you're just hoping that everything is okay. We just had this conversation about what they're able to do to find out if you had venereal diseases or whatever. But that urine, I don't know, for the urine to even be stored someplace outside of your bladder. You don't want that to take place. And I mean, they just wanted to build up, here it is, everything else other than, here it is, your healthy body. But I'm like, I mean, man, I'm like, for real, boo, and I'm holding this. And then just the thought of just me just saying that, to have the hand, you see some people, they this. And I have my signature, and it goes like this, right? Because I had to decide on how I wanted, but I was just like this. But it means the first, the symbol itself is lion. It's the lioness symbol, right? The zodiac symbol for the lion. And that's what that is. That's when I do this is F, but it looks like an F to me. I mean, now I'm explaining too much. But anyway, the point is that you see people. Anyway, I'm holding my thing. I just want to let me see how I'm holding. Here it is, the thing, and I'm holding it like this. And I was fanning like this. And you see some people in it. I said, hold on now. I ain't gonna lie to you. What kind of view this noise is trying to make for me like that, boy? And then yet they want to explain to me that people are looking. If they want to be like, okay, well, listen, this is what we're doing with hygiene, to talk about how we're able to work and infect your internal organs. That's fucked up. And I effed up when someplace else. Come on back, effed up. That right there is just out of the question. It's sad, baby. Do you understand? I'm just reading right here to see what liver, because I'm like, honey, I'm feeling that heat on my vagina, and I'm calling out people and I'm asking them, please report these people. I don't think that they should be here at my home like that. Now, it says here the liver. Now, the liver sits up high, like right up in here, where I'm telling people to feel themselves, right? So I'm feeling myself, and this, I said, Lord have mercy. To have any of these people using these lasers on us, I'm telling you, this is incorrect. The liver. It said the liver is a major organ only found in vertebrae, in which performs many essential biological functions, such as detoxification of the organism and the synthesis of proteins and biochemicals necessary for digestion and growth. In humans, it is located in the upper quadrant of the abdomen. Below the diagram, its other roles in metabolism include regulation of glycogen storage. So you're died, because I'm like, for real, I'm right there. Looking at, here it is. I'm like, well, hold on, well, what's this? Don't, well, what's the why? And if they're talking about these things, like they're talking about our organs, I'm sorry, just this has just become a surprise to me, just in this little live, this little what live stream. Because I was explaining to you about going someplace and looking at this painting, and how they were explaining how it was more of something that could have been man-made. Now, how could that have been man-made if somebody didn't do it to themselves? And so as I read here, and I'm thinking about that urine and that bladder, and then yet that heat on my vagina. Oh, it feels good, huh? I said it couldn't feel too good because I don't like it. I do not like it. I'm not sexually, horny or nothing. So I don't want you on my clitoris. Then what else is that? And then yet here it is going and looking. I said, Lord have mercy. To talk about bed sores and stuff like that. We don't want that heat on us like that. Then to be talking about a baby, and then and then yet here it is, your organs and stuff, something that's bothering your internal organs or your body that way. There's one thing that, no, it ain't even that, because honey, to talk about that heat and what it's able to do. Oh, well, look, here it is. We found some. And then yet they want to be in agreement with that. And yet some of these people know about all some of the things that they've been able to do. And I mean, I'm like, I'm just resting in myself and this, that, and the other. And then yeah, I have complaints about, that heat around my reproductive, my booty. It's sad, baby. Are you understanding what I'm saying? To look at hygiene and then to be like, okay, hygiene, hide. Now we can go and look at gin. That gin, we people play gin, and then there's the gin, like the alcohol gin. Then if we were looking at GEN, that's people. Gin could be people. Gin can be information. I'm just find out about. GEN. Okay, information. You got more gin on him than we have. Find out about. And I'm like, okay, because I care about me, but apparently that noise that doesn't care about me, because why would they be trying to have me upset? Why they want me to be like, here it is, my career, and everything got to be attached to them? And I'm like, well, hold on. I mean, you interfering with my success. Well, why do you do that? You interfere with my family. Why did you do that? But the thing is, to look at the repair, it's already been some years ago. But to look at this thing here, and they saying to me, here it is, just looking at kidney, that the things that have been going on, and then me complaining about that heat on my vagina. Man, this thing is even more than that. I'm sorry, this just became a discovery to me. Just reading, here it is about a painting, and to see that right here, and then to look at this right there. And I couldn't understand, here on the upper part, why I'm feeling this heat on my belly like that. It wasn't the fact that I did not want to have children or to have a love life. Of course. But I didn't understand why this thing was going in. And I'm like, okay, hold on. People eat, drink beverages and food. You understand? You know how you may feel. And I'm like, you see some people, they seem like they're kind of high on the top of their stomach, and then yet here it is low. Then you see some people that real. I said, hold on. I exercised, okay? I exercise. So I'm like, okay, well, what is the issue? I could feel, here it is, something's on me like that. Now, I'm looking, I'm feeling, and I had went someplace, and the woman, because when you go to the doctor and you lay down, they go around your belly, your abdomen, and everything seemed okay, right? And they did some blood work. Everything seemed to be okay. But I didn't understand why, here it is, I was feeling that heat, like laser heat, coming from, and I'm at home, I'm not at the doctor or anything. So that means that there's complaints. There's complaints that the government may be using weapons, then they want to use everything else to be like, this is how we're able to do these things against you. Not we're just looking at one thing. They don't have anything to do with, here it is, for real, the collarbone, that mucus, that pain here, that sizzling to talk about, here it is, your heart, your lungs. I mean, this shit is sad. I'm sorry. It's just so dang on true. But I'm going to go ahead and just trim this because I didn't know. I mean, I'm just right here on the live right now, just trying to figure out, why is that something that we should be considered or concerned about? but it's a little bit more than us just washing our bodies. But then to talk about the body, they'll say the mind, the soul, the body. Now the thing is that some people had associated the soul with, here it is, our interpersonal something. But in actuality, the soul would be, here it is, your hands and your feet. That would be the things that you would do in regards to your work. Now, I'm looking at this thing and I'm going to look at it a little bit more and I'm going to come back. But the thing is to look at each one of those things. Those things will be in my complaint, because I'm like, well, no, honey. I know that they spent some time just trying to go back. Oh, well, here it is, what kind of food I'm consuming. Listen, in regards to a beverage, right? My beverage, because I didn't have a refrigerator at the time, and when I was purchasing something to drink, I was looking at what was affordable. Now, there's all kinds of different sodas, okay, sodas. And the soda that I was drinking, I mean, we got different ones through this company called Shasta. And so I had this one, I tried this one, I tried that one. Oh, honey, this thing wanted to go like they were on a full story on Coca-Cola or Shasta Cola or Pepsi Cola. But then yet you see Pepsi Cola, Shasta Cola, they probably have more cleansing something than 7 Up and Sprite, or even some of your other colored drinks. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, meaning that, you would, I mean, hold on. These the beverage itself was X amount of dollars. So it was affordable. It was more affordable than me getting, let's say, an orange juice or an apple juice or a juice something, right? I didn't have a refrigerator, yada yada yada. I mean, I didn't have a stove, so I got the most affordable thing. Now I have drunk it. Let me see, a good 3 years. Okay, and it just became my beverage of choice. It didn't mean I didn't drink anything else. Of course I did. I drank water. I drank milk. I had coffee. I had tea. What else? I like shakes. But whatever they are saying, there shouldn't have been any reason for it to be like, okay, well, we all gonna watch, here it is, the soda pop intake. So I buy 4 cans of the soda, and it really was less than that. If I have like a beverage, I may want to use that beverage with that soda pop. See what I mean? But if we're looking at a day and people who take on, let's say, a big gulp. Okay, so on average, a person that goes someplace and they get something to eat, even if they're getting, let's say, a Fanta or something, it's still soda. If you got a horchata, it's still a beverage. It's sweet. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this thing and looking at the calories. I'm looking at the sugar, and then comparing that to, let's just say, already bottled juice. Then it wasn't. I don't understand, because first of all, some of your juices are not natural juices. Okay, that's one. Know that. And some of these juices people are drinking and they're consuming, they're not natural juices. And if there are natural juices, they're telling you how much percentage it is. And sometimes it's not, let's just say 50%. Okay? So I'm like, no, honey. I mean, oh, they wanted to go on a full story about soda pop. I just said, well, listen, Whatchamajigga said he takes 5 soda pops. So anyway, that 4 soda pops. Because you get 4 in a little pack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if I was, we're just going to say 4. So here it is. It's a hot day or something. Okay, nothing in the morning. So if we're looking at, 24 hours. Okay, you don't have any in the morning. Then you come in the evening. Then you end up having, okay. So by the time it was lunchtime, a little in between drink, dinner time, a snack, maybe you may have maybe 1.5 big gulp. And if you add a whole lot of ice to it. So anyway, my point is that I don't think that my consumption of that being a beverage should have been an issue. And yes, I drink water. You know what I mean? They had these people looking at things and like they just want to just add up shit. Like they just were diabetes. I said, hold up. Oh, here it is, kid. Hold up. I'm just reading it now because I'm complaining about my vagina on, under heat. Why are they bothering me? Why are they being harassed? Why are they focused on my reproductive system? The thought about tell them and the anatomy. We will go back and forth to talk about the anatomy. The ant told me, or something of the nature, something of that fact, or something of that that word, right? So if we're looking at the anatomy of the body, then now we could look at hygiene and then question or to even identify what they're saying and what the complaint has been over a period of time. I thought myself personally that it's been a little bit too long for a person or that machine or something. You know what I mean? That's a focus. That's a focus for somebody or something just to be concentrated on your coochie like that. You can't sit there and just tell me that here it is that I shouldn't give a flying flip and I'm crying. And I'm like, wow, I mean, to look at, I mean, you can have artificial insert what artificial, what is it called? Insemination. But the thing is that I don't want artificial insemination. Ain't nothing wrong with no real big, strong penis. So that means a significant other. So then, why in the world would this thing be going back and forth with your with the person's clitoris or their feelings? I don't know how a man may feel, but I know that a woman, she has a clitoris. Or to be like ha 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 about a mutilation. I'm going to look at a couple of these and I will I will do another stream. And now me, just thinking out loud and what this the word hygiene is and to talk about the body and body parts. And then to look at those different things that I have experienced and I'm complaining about. And one of them is my booty. Oh, here it is. I'm like, honey, we got some people that are out there. They said that they done had sex with a whole bunch of different women and men. And then you want to accuse me. Oh, here's where I'm like, well, honey, I ain't gonna fib to you. You ain't with me. We be like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, now it may be a little different because we've grown to talk about the responsibility of what a woman would like. But if you want me to be like I should be laid up like a booty call, I don't want that. I'm going to look at some body parts of the body, look at the body, the anatomy, and come back to you about this hygiene. I don't know what other people have been hearing or what they have told them. But the thing is that they're also letting you know what they have been able to do with those lasers or any of those weapons against the human body and the mankind like that, man. I will come back to this and have further discussion. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a good night.